Have you ever heard of the term green? Usually we use that term when we're discussing actors who just don't have a lot of experience. Well, regardless if you're green or not, you don't want people to think that you're a beginning actor, right? So let me give you some tips. Here's the 5 mistakes that most beginning actors make. Where most actors start off going wrong is by neglecting proper training. It's something that sounds so simple, but yet people just want to graze over the process. Just like with anything else, there is technique that you can use. Yes, you can get 0 casted in a row, right? We can think of actors who are like booking $100 million films, and a lot of times they're 0 casted, but those actors aren't really up for Academy Awards. It's nothing against those actors, but they keep booking the same roles over and over again. And that's fine if you're able to find success, meaning I'd rather get 0 casting than not get casted at all. But if you want to push, and more likely than not, if you want to become an actor who is booked all the time, regardless of what the season is or what the climate is, then you need some technique. Nobody said you had to go out and go to Juilliard. That's not what I'm saying. But I do suggest you doing some type of scene study 101. Nowadays, you can do that anywhere around the world. You can just hop on Zoom. And there's multiple scene study classes that you can get into. You can go in person as well, especially if you're in one of these mecca cities. So get into that. Take a class at Self-Tape Boot Camp, right? We have that to offer here on the channel. We're offering that a plethora of times. Apparently my dog wanted to make an appearance, right? You can get some type of self-tape boot camp. You can read acting books, right? That could teach you a technique to practice. Get a one-on-one acting coach. Do acting consultations. Get some type of training. So that way you're not just coming on set with whatever it is that you have in your head or trying to mimic other people, which I can clearly tell as somebody who casts and directs people on a regular basis. I can tell if somebody has no technique whatsoever if there's 0 casting. 0 casting gets you by, and it'll probably get you to book your first gig. But if you want to stay booked on a consistent basis, you don't want to just thrive off of your personality, then get you some type of technique. Work your acting career like you're working a 9 to 5, and you're going to get major results. What if we all worked our dreams like we worked a 9 to 5? Another epic fail is ignoring the importance of the professional headshot. Not just ignoring the importance, but just not having the right headshots. I know people who are actors who have headshots, right? But then they tell me they want to be in like Law and Order SVU, but their headshot looks like they're in a gangster movie. Like, nah, it's not adding up. Make sure your headshots match the roles that you're trying to submit for. And yes, if you're trying to go out for a plethora of roles, is it worth the money to have a headshot in a cop outfit, a headshot in a fireman outfit, or a suit, as well as a headshot like looking with the muscles and stuff like you an athlete or like you ready to go out to the club? Yes, you need a professional headshot. There are lots of photographers who can do this, especially if you're in a mecca city like LA, Los Angeles, Atlanta, who charge various prices. I would say comfortably a basic headshot package is probably anywhere between $150 to like $400. If you have the money, make the investment. Now, mind you, you can shoot your own headshot just to get going and try to book a commercial or a music video or a student film. Yes, but a headshot could be the difference between you getting an ABC audition or not. Because literally casting directors, when you're submitting to these roles, or even if you had an agent or manager, they're submitting for you, the first thing that pops up is a headshot. So I'm only going to spend, if I have hundreds of people to look at, I'm only going to spend 5 to 10 seconds, maybe, looking at your headshot. Then I'm going to click in and I'm going to see your reel. Then I'm going to see and be like, oh, has this person been booked on anything? Like, and I've been in the room with these casting directors. They're not spending that much time on it. So you need to look like the character that you're submitting for off rip. And if you don't, they're just going to scroll on by and they're going to scroll past you. And that is what it is. Invest into a headshot. It's just like with anything else. If you're going to play guitar, you would more than likely have to buy a guitar. So if you're going to be an actor, you're probably going to have to pay for headshots. Next fail is lack of networking. I don't mean that you need to have a meeting with Steven Spielberg. That's not what I'm talking about. What I am saying, though, is that you need to network within your own community. You need to network on your level. You need to have as many resources as possible. Do you know somebody who's trying to get into writing? Because that's the person who's going to end up being writing on the next head big show, right? What you call it? Mara Brocca-Keel was PAing on shows in the 90s before she started writing her own shows like Being Mary Jane or Girlfriends, right? The same could be said for Quinta Brunson, was around the industry for years. Imagine if you would have been friends with Quinta Brunson, you might be on Abbott Elementary. You might be, or getting a pop-up role in Abbott Elementary. But people are so busy trying to go after these big fish that they're not networking with the people who are making moves right there alongside them. Team up. If you have an idea of a character you want to play, then do it yourself. Film a feature film yourself. I'm sure you can find somebody who's got a good camera like a Red Cam or Ari, and they're a budding director or a DP or a sound person. You guys all team up and shoot this thing together. So that's what I mean by networking. Also building your community. That's the whole point of a scene study or some type of a Zoom class, is that you have somebody not only to hold you accountable, but to be a resource for you and lift you up when you feel like you're falling down. Network with casting directors. It's the same people on the same projects. I kid you not. Sometimes there's big companies. A lot of times it's individuals. I can speak specifically when it comes to predominantly African-American projects. It's like 4 casting directors who are casting all of these projects. And if you know them and if they know your face and they start to get familiar with your work, you're probably at bare minimum getting called in for an audition. That part. So like, take this so serious. Just like if you were going to be a doctor, you would want to know the different hospitals. You would want to know such and such is the head of this hospital. If you were going to school, who's the different professors? In any industry, that there's still some level of networking that needs to be done. There's so many sites where you can do that. But number one is social media. Right here. How did we meet? We met through social media. There's Threads, which I'm constantly connecting with actors and actresses and directors and crew members. Sites like Mandy.com, where you can find a whole community of people who are either trying to get booked or who's actually booking. So get out there, and these days you don't physically have to be out there. You can be anywhere in the world and meet people and try to connect. This one is a killer. Unpreparedness for auditions. This is the number one you're green sign. You just was not prepared today. And by prepared, I mean, woo, you just out here bumbling around trying to figure it out. And like, we're going to have to get that together. So if you're doing a self-tape audition, I have entire videos on self-tape auditions. So make sure you check that out. I'll probably make it into a playlist too now, because I keep doing them because apparently people need it. Comment self-tape if you need help with self-tape below, or check out our free resources that we have on our channel. We also have a free ebook for actors, so make sure you get that too, right? So if you're not prepared for the self-tape, what does that look like? That looks like you were not off book, meaning you don't have your lines memorized. Oh no. Your eye line is horrible, meaning you're probably looking straight into the camera instead of reading here, right? Which is to this person right here, or here to this person right here, because when you're on set, the camera is capturing you and you're ignoring it. Unless you're like me and you break the rules and you shoot POV movies, which nobody really does. But anyway, right? Like, okay, you don't have good lighting. You don't have good audio. You don't have good video quality, right? So fails. If you just want to be prepared in general, just check out the video I made about essentials that you need for acting. And most of them are in the link in the description below. So you can check that out and get what you need to get going. Right. So that's one. And then 2, in person, the freeze. The freeze is like, people get stage fright and nervousness. But like, for me, if I'm looking at you and I'm casting you, just keeping it real, if you're doing that in the audition, then I don't think you're going to be ready to be when all the cameras is on you. Imagine doing an intimacy scene. I try to just kick everybody out the room, but sometimes when you're on set, there's 30 people in that room. So if you're freezing up in the audition room, then what am I supposed to believe as a director, producer, casting person you're going to do when there's 30 people in the room and now you have to perform? You have to be prepared. You have to be prepared for the moment. And if you are not prepared for the moment, this goes back to what I'm talking about. Being in a scene study class, putting up stuff on stages, putting in more work, showing up for free on sets to just build your resume, build that muscle that we call acting, right? So you're ready and you're prepared and you can go from a small set to a big set. And all these skills are transferable. But if you're green, and I can tell that you're green, Houston, we have a problem. Last but not least, rejection is a part of acting. It's not the part that we want to talk about, but it is what it is. So I can always tell somebody's green when they handle rejection poorly. Don't take it personal. Sometimes it has nothing to do with you. Now, if you're not prepared, then yeah, that has everything to do with you. But I'm the type of person that I want to see people win. So I will literally just tell you, I would say, you're not getting this today, or I went a different direction. If you ask me, because mind you, a lot of this is submissions. I don't even know these people. But if I was to encounter you in person, right, I would tell you in a nice, respectful way, you're not booking this role today because you were not prepared. And I suggest that you go get prepared in whatever specific way that you need it. And you should be able to take that as somebody who cares and who's looking out for you, who's trying to see you win. Like, okay, they were looking out for me. So next time around, I'm going to be ready for my moment. I'm going to be ready. 90% of success is showing up, but that other 10% is being prepared for when it happens so you can get what it is you need to get. And so handling this rejection, so I say, I went over my audition tips. Book the room, not the role. Right? And when you book the room and not the role, what that looks like is whether you get it or not, you know, you brought your A game to that. And they chose to go a different direction, not because of you, but because they just wanted something different. It's just taste. It's just like, what salad dressing do you want in a salad? Does that mean the salad dressing such and such chose is whack? No. It just means you had a different taste that day. And I think a lot of people should start viewing acting and these acting experiences like that, and less like a personal referendum on them. Right? So handle that rejection. Do what you can control, which is how you show up, how prepared you are, how tapped in are you. Are you working your dream like a 9 to 5? Like that part. That's what you can do. That's what you can control, and keep that positive mindset of knowing that whatever God has for you is for you, and can't nobody take that away, boo-boo. So when it's going to be your time, it'll be your time. It wasn't Samuel Jackson's time until he was literally in his 40s. Pulp Fiction came out in, was it 40s or late 30s? I don't even know. It wasn't his time until then. He had been booking stuff, but we didn't know who Sam Jack was. Well, you know, I knew. Well, I wasn't born, but you bear with me on here. Go down this road. We didn't really know who he was until Pulp Fiction. So, and Quentin Tarantino found him, and it just was never the same since. So be ready for when that moment is, even if that moment isn't 10 to 15 years from now. So you have to ask yourself the question, how bad do you actually want it? Do you really love this? And are you setting yourself up for success in order to get there in the first place? Handle that rejection. As usual, I need you guys to ask me questions in the comments below, because that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to make videos to answer your questions. So please ask me some questions in the comments below on how I can better help you, whether it's acting tips, directing, content management, mental, whatever it is, I'm here to help you. Be sure to check out our website. We have a free ebook for actors. We have additional resources on the website and courses that you can take to better yourself in your career. Do me a favor, hit the like button, sub button, bell button, like you gotta go.